right, welcome guys. Hello Damu, hello Venkat. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
So recently there has been a lot of talk or controversies about something called this WhiteHat Jr, right? And there have been some positive news about WhiteHat Jr. In that it's been acquired by Byju's for a whopping $300 million, right? So that is the positive aspect of it. Then there have been some negative aspects, like their cutthroat advertising and some you could even say fraudulent claims, and then even more basic discussion on whether it is good to engage kids in something like coding, etc. Right? So what do you guys think about this? Have you, any of you, come across such advertisements like for this WhiteHat Jr?
Yeah, of course. They are bombarding us from everywhere, right? YouTube, right? You open any YouTube channel and this is a default ad these days, right? I feel they are profiling parents, right? People of certain age, about 30, who they know to be married and being parents. They want to target these people and they want to, make the parents buy these coding courses for the kids. Actually, yeah. My initial feeling when I saw it for the first time was that they want to cash in on this buzz around coding and the big money, and this exploit the guilt feeling of parents about doing things, these things for the kids, yeah, and make money in the end.
See, Aman, everybody is in this to make money, okay? So just because they are trying to make money, does it mean it's bad? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying. Okay. I'm not saying that. It's a clever marketing ploy which they are using. That is my. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's a clever marketing on their part, actually. Yeah. But I, being a parent of, let's say, 2 kids, I am not comfortable spending this kind of crazy money for introducing coding to my kids at this stage. For example, like for their grade 1 coaching, coding coaching is the charge for which is about 6,000 rupees for some a handful of classes, which I feel is exorbitant and unnecessary. I would rather expose my kids to coding in a lighter way with some free available content in a way. Yeah, but I'm not saying what they're doing is wrong.
So one thing I wanted to say, right? There is some disclosure that I have to make, right? So I took this initial. They offer one trial class, okay? And I took that with my son, and I quite liked it. And I enrolled him for an 8 classes. I enrolled him for 8 classes just to see how it is, whether he likes it or not, right? Mm-hmm. So my motivations or that, at that time when I enrolled him, he has only completed 3 classes. Then I put the remaining classes in pending because his term 1 exams have interfered, okay? And for the time that he was attending the 3 classes, he quite enjoyed those sessions. And my motivation is simply that he is a guy who enjoys these things, right? So that is why I put him there, right? At that time, in fact, I was not even aware that they are doing this much of advertising. And you may be right, like their profiling is so good that they may not be showing all the same ad to the different, all the parents. They may be showing what ad will actually capture your attention to different parents. One big thing that I came to, or one of the worst things that I came to know about later about this WhiteHat Jr. is that they have been advertising about a guy called Wolf, some Wolf Gupta, right? And that Wolf Gupta is, and at various times they have claimed different things about this Wolf Gupta. He is apparently a child who is 9-year-old in some advertisements and 12-year-old in some other advertisements, and he is making 20 crore annual salary in one advertisement, 1.2 crore annual salary in some advertisement. You know, it's crazy. I didn't come across this advertisement when I enrolled. What I was receiving were all benign, like this advertisements, like it is something which is really, it improves the concentration of your children, right? Improves the concentration of your children, and it helps with their attention span. And they sent me some advertisement which showed that kids attention span has increased by 80%. I can't say that I regret that. I can't say I regret that because my son actually seemed to enjoy that, right? So I'm happy with that.
But these are glorified tuition classes, right? Can we agree on that? Because I feel they're nothing more than that. It's a tuition.
It is. It is. It is. The way it works is they have some, they introduce some ideas like using coding blocks. No real coding happens in the class. Okay, that is something I want to be clear here. In the class, actually, no coding happens. Coding in the traditional sense where kids are typing some commands or some keywords, right? Like in normal programming. Here it is more like totally visual, right? So it is like, okay, there will be blocks on one side. You could say that the visual IDE programming taken to an extreme, right? And if you have to create, and then they introduce concepts like looping algorithm, like if you want to make the bee move 10 times, drag the block, move forward, that block will be there on the left side, right? So you drag it to the coding area 10 times. And then they will say, okay, there is an easier way to do this. If you are able to say, okay, this action you repeat for 10 times. So they will have another block which you can drag. That is a loop block. So they will get that understanding that, oh, this is what it is. And when I am doing this, I'm giving this set of instructions. Then I click run. It will actually happen in the screen, right? So whatever I have observed, right, it is benign. Like, and the teacher was excellent. She is a very young girl, okay, and she spoke to my son nicely, and she was excellent. It was benign, right? Only after that, I came across all these allegations, and then I also saw the actual ad with this Wolf Gupta, which obviously I feel that they are really, really bad.
Saying, if we look at the website of WhiteHat Jr., right? They have some psychological, what do you say? Psychological. They have designed it in a way that creates a psychological impact on parents because they have they use words like NASA. NASA has done a survey which shows that if you introduce kids to coding early, it's beneficial for them. It helps their brain to develop much better. Then they have something called as a Silicon Valley challenge, as well as they have all these kids photos scrolling on the website who have done these different kinds of apps, for example, right? Which is all good, but again they are trying to give an impression that if being a parent, if you do not expose your kids to this particular skill, then you will be lagged behind, or the other kids will go ahead in their life, right? Which I do not believe uh, that this is such a skill that is must at this age, let's say under 10 years of kids, or maybe even up to 15. It's not mandatory for kids to be exposed to this skill, in my opinion. What do you guys think about this?
See, I feel that, see, you can say this about any skill, right? So if you go to our own childhood, right? None of us had coding exposure till, I didn't have any coding exposure till I reached college.
Does that explain our performance these days?
I don't know. I don't know, right? Simply put, I don't know, right? But there are things in every school, like even my son's school, I believe he has had some computer exposure from first grade, right? I don't know. In some schools, they may be starting earlier, not later than first grade. They have a separate subject for computers, and they have a, they are actually using Linux based system, and I quite like it. And kids are, I feel that we have to move with times, right? One example I want to give is, if you are traveling in a highway, right, and if you are at a different speed, going at a lower speed than everybody else around you, right? It you definitely feel like you are going to be hit at any time, and you see vehicles whizzing past, right, all the time, and it gives you an uncomfortable feeling. As long as you are in there or thereabouts in that speed range, right, you feel like you are comfortable and you are cruising, right? I don't know if you guys tried that any time, but if you are in the highway, try slowing down considerably relative to other drivers. I don't know if you guys face that. So my point is that you have to move with times, right? So there is nothing inherently wrong about coding as a skill, right? How you go about it, to what extent you expose your child, uh, that is all up to you as a parent. That is what I feel. Nothing inherently wrong about a particular skill. That is what I feel.
Mm-hmm. Uh, Let me ask one more thing. First of all, let me come back to the analogy you gave, right, about the highway,
Yeah.
right? Let's say a family, we are in our house. Highway is still a bit far, right? And it could be possible that the kid wants to be a pilot and wants to fly and not drive, right? So
Okay.
is it right on our part to feel that because every other kid is driving on the highway, we should also follow along? Just a thought here. What do you think?
Yeah, as I said, right. I'm not saying that there is has to be any kind of forcing or forcing to choose now. I see this as exposing them to variety of experiences, right? There is no real. When I took the initial class, I asked my son, like, do you like this, right? The bias comes only at the stage of what you introduce to your, to my son. There is a bias, right? There are certain things I will never think of introducing to him, right? That is where my bias comes in, and that is something. Can any of us do anything about that? Because we are what we are, and certain things I expose. I want to expose him to some music, right? Some instrumental music I want him to learn. The logic behind that is that I don't know, maybe he will become a great musician or whatever. But my intention is not that. I feel that music is something great to have as it's not a skill. It is more like a companion. If he is good in some instrumental music, at any time when he is feeling low or high, to celebrate something, anything, it is a great way to maybe play a song. Like, for example, it's my great desire to learn flute, right? From a childhood. I know a little bit, right? So if there is something going on in my life or something sad, right? I can pick up a flute and try to sing, play a song, right? It's soothing, right? That is something like in your kitty. And when kids are very young, I feel that they have a lot of capacity to learn, right? Provided they really love it. If they love it, it's not work. It's not work, it's not a burden, right? And if there is no pressure that, okay, you have to go to Silicon Valley, you have to be Wolf Gupta and all that, right? My point is, you don't expose them to the harmful effects of that. But you can't run away from certain things. You cannot think that, oh, this will happen and they will become stressed and all. If they become stressed, pull them out, right? Nothing wrong with that. If you put them in some sports, again, you have to expose them. You are giving them some exposure. Then it is up to them whether they enjoy that and they want to take it forward, or they may feel lose interest, and it will keep on changing. But can we keep away from every influence like this out of fear, right? That something bad will happen to them, right? Are they so fragile that some bad experience happens? One story I read about this WhiteHat Jr., which was quite disturbing, was a parent has written saying that my son was in this class, WhiteHat Jr., and they really messed with his mind by the teacher was ignoring him in the class, putting him in mute and asking him to do. And as a result, my son now feels that he is not good in coding, and he started scoring low marks in his class and all. Right? That's obviously her experience. Right? I don't want to denigrate that.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I
read
also
it as
feel,
well.
yeah. But I also feel that her expectation going into this program itself is an entitled point of view, that she is expecting that her kid will be great in coding, right? My expectation going into this program was that maybe he's not good, or maybe it doesn't even matter. Like maybe he's not good now, maybe he will be good later. I don't care, basically. I am going in with the sole intention of giving him some enjoyment, right? And I also fell for that line they fed me. In that, there is no two questions about it. They are being very clever and they are profiling, and they showed me one side of. They spoke only about the concentration, how it will help the child to feel, they really enjoy it and all that. They never showed me this Wolf Gupta and all that, right? Right. I have been played, but my point is that everything is like this now. We are in this world where, of course, we are going to be played, right? But we have to be conscious enough to limit the damage and make use of it to the extent possible. That is my point. Venkat, you've been awfully quiet. Is there something you want to say?
I think he has lost 1 lakh rupees and he's speechless.
Is that the case? Is that the case, or you are not aware that there is WhiteHat Jr., something called WhiteHat?
Yeah, very good question, right? Thank you for asking. So let me start from the beginning, right? First thing is, I have not been exposed to WhiteHat Jr. advertisement, right?
Okay.
I came to know about it through a meme in one of my groups,
Okay.
right? Which stated that I wanted to pay WhiteHat Jr., right, by giving them stakes in the company that my child would found after clearing this WhiteHat Jr. But they did not agree, right? That's what the meme said, right? The meme said that I wanted to pay the fee in terms of the stakes that my future child's company will create, but they don't agree. So that is what was the meme. Okay, that's when I saw this WhiteHat Jr. and I came to know that it was acquired by Byju's. Right? It's founded by a writer, by an author. Actually, that guy is also an author. The founder is also an author of books. Well, I have not been exposed to this WhiteHat Junior's advertisements yet. Okay. So, however, yeah.
Okay.
However,
what do you think about coding as a skill? Do you think it is good or exposure at this age is required?
Yeah. See, for this, I want to bring a small story. Okay. It's not a story. It's about Tiger Woods. Right? Are you guys aware of when was Tiger Woods? When did he take a liking to golf? When did he started playing golf?
No, I don't know.
No.
Aman, do you know about it? Okay. It is said that Tiger Woods has been learning the game of golf since he was 6 months old.
Okay.
Because his father saw that, and he also was, involved in the game, right?
So he started watching, basically. He started watching golf from,
Then what happened when he was 2 years old? He got a mini golf set. He got a mini golf set for his size. Right?
Okay.
And then he started playing it. He started playing it. And he has been exposed to this game. He has been playing this game right from the age of 2 years. That's what, many people say and, many people believe. So that's where we are starting here, right? So,
basically, Venkat,
yeah,
this seemed to expose our own desire that our kids will be like Tiger Woods or any.
No, it is just
they have to be a high achiever, isn't
it? What I'm trying to say is that a person who starts early, right? The thinking or what people think is, if the kid starts early in any field, right, they can become super achievers in that field. We also go back to the 10,000 hour formula, right? The earlier the kids are exposed, the more they will reach to that 10,000 hour formula where they become great at that particular sport. Or
so what is this 10,000 hour formula you're talking about?
So 10,000 hours, right? For any person to become great in a field, it takes 10,000 hours.
I think that's from that Outliers book that we have about, right? Outliers.
Okay. But is it a proven one or it's just something that has been said by somebody? Right? Because many of the things we don't know.
This 10,000 hour rule was invented by Malcolm Gladwell.
So must not be true then. Something he has said.
10,000 hours of deliberate practice.
No, my point is, is it fair to have expectation that my kid will be a super achiever? It doesn't matter in what field it is, right?
Everybody wants their kid to be super achievers. People want their kids to be super achievers.
That is what the marketing guys are exploiting, right?
Right.
So I am asking, is it fair? What do you think?
I feel it is very unfair.
In your heart you may have,
I feel because it is unfair for parents to think about it, right? And there in the world there are very few super achievers, right? That's the truth, right? I want my kid to be happy and
itself,
good.
Yeah,
that's all. Yeah.
So you you are saying that, okay, it's okay if they are happy and good, right?
Yeah.
So I have a slightly different opinion on this, because what is happy? What is being happy? Like if somebody is like, I read, since you mentioned Tiger Woods, that reminded me of biography which I read, right, of Andre Agassi. Okay, Andre Agassi, when he was a child, I don't remember the details, but when he was a very young child, maybe he was 6 years old or something like that, his father started pushing him into tennis. Okay, and he says that he hated it. He really, like, he used to get up and he used to wake up early morning and he used to play and he used to practice and he almost hated every moment of it growing up, right? And that later led him to drugs and all other bad habits, right, to cope with the stress of performance and all that, right? And if you recollect how Andre Agassi was, he was like a spoiled child. Initial days, he used to behave like a spoiled child, right? On and off court, and he used to have that funky hairstyles and all that. We always got the impression that he was not giving us everything, right? And that is what it did to him. Finally, okay, then he came around and he made peace with that, right? My point is, who is Andre Agassi without tennis, right? Do you think if his dad didn't push him into tennis in some other alternate universe, he would have been happy? What is happy, right? He is who he is today because of tennis, right? Without that, whatever pushing his father did, right? He's a nobody. He's a nobody who we won't even know about. I don't know. Like maybe he would have gone on to do something great in some other field, or very likely he would have been a nobody, right? That is the more likely outcome, if you ask me. So, is it even fair on the part of parents to push to whatever extent? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, it's interesting again because we always know the success stories, right? There may be 10,000 parents who pushed their kids into certain fields or continuously
Okay.
push now also, right? But you quoted one success, Andre Agassi, and there will be many more. I agree, but there will be many more. There will be a substantial number where the kids have committed suicide or become total failures because certain thing was pressed upon them. Don't you guys think?
I agree with you, right? But that fear is always there, right? And even Andre Agassi went there. Almost he went down the destructive path where he was taking drugs and he was out of the game for quite a few years. And then he made a comeback. And that is when he won most of his titles, right? And he probably will be ranked as one of the greatest to have ever played the game, right? Going by his number of Grand Slams and all that. And he also got the big prize of Steffi Graf, right? So my point is that yes, that is the fear that you have always with anything, trying anything. You always have some fears, right? You have a lot of fear, but can you not? Can you stop trying because bad outcomes are possible and bad outcomes are more likely, right? Is it not true that we should think of, okay, what is the limit to which I need to push my child? If you have an understanding of that, and if you are close to your child and listen to what they are saying, right? Because it is a myth that, in my opinion, it is a myth that kids don't have to be pushed. even things which they really love. For example, my son really loves math. Okay, but it is not like when he is not doing math, I am not pushing him or I am not telling him, hey, do your math homework, right? He will automatically go and take some math book and he will be doing his work. It never happens, right? But he enjoys doing math. I can see that. I can see that. Like I have to push him to take that book, and then only he will attempt. He will start doing that. Otherwise, he would rather be doing something totally meaningless. He will be like just he even names it, right? I just want to list about. I just want to list about. He will say, right? I don't want to do anything. I just want to list about. But when I push him, then he will take his math book, and I can see that you give him a difficult puzzle. Then when he solves that and he gets the right answer, he just enjoys it, right? So my point is, you have to push. Anyway, you have to push. What is the limit? That is something each parent has to understand for himself, rather than going by some formula that I'll never push my child into anything. I'm sure, like, if you are putting your child in some coaching for some sports, there is some element of, okay, yeah, every day you have to go there. Every day you have to go there. It is physically taxing, right? So I want to, discuss this in terms of like short-term happiness versus long-term fulfillment, right? That is a problem we all face. Like even for as adults, we face that. You can have a short-term happiness, so-called happiness, or you can have long-term fulfillment. Is that not right? Or do you guys think it's too early for kids?
A very interesting point about pushing the kids, right? However, do you guys feel an advertisement backed by a business and VC fund be a trigger for parents to expose their kids to a skill like coding? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think I already said this, right? So I feel that we need to separate these things. Right? The marketing is one thing. The actual product is another thing, right? And this is a dilemma we face in every walk of life now. Every place or every space has these kind of highly marketed and skillfully marketed products, right? So we have to, as adults, we have to develop the skill to separate what we actually need, what we actually want, from what we are being fed, to the extent possible, right? That may actually determine whether we will be successful or not, right? Because as we all know about this hooked model, and everybody is following that, including WhiteHat Jr. Right? They also incentivize you to bring other kids, and they give reward points for the kids to do exercises, quizzes, and all. And the toppers get some prizes and all, everything there. And you have to understand that it is just a product, just like anything else. You are getting this kind of advertisements from Ola. You are getting this kind of advertisements from Big Basket, everywhere, right? So then it is up to you to use, pick and choose what you want to use and what you don't want to use. Then there are other people who totally leave this and go and live in farm, right? That may be the only way where we can avoid this kind of marketing all around us. Marketing is a reality, if you ask me. If you don't want to completely move away from this, marketing is a reality we have to deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So my point is, leave the marketing. The marketing they have done for WhiteHat Jr. in particular is, I would say it is very bad. Okay. They have made it like, and you could even say that it is fraudulent. They have claimed a lot of things which are untrue, which have been exposed now in the media, right? At least in the social media, like they have exposed the lies they have said. But that is the marketing part. Then you come to the actual product. Now I want to ask you guys, like, whether you think it is harmful, right? There are various levels. Like, you have marketing, but then you get to the actual product. And when it comes to the actual product also, whether it is useful, not useful, but at least no harm. It is just some fun. Or some of these can even be harmful, right? Like if you are getting a lot of advertisement for some online gaming, like some gambling, right? They're play rummy and win, play poker and win. These kind of advertisements are also coming to you, right? And some of these can actually harm you, and the same thing to your kids, right? That is what the claim is from one or at least one mother, where she is claiming that her son has actually been harmed by this, right? So what do you guys think? Where do you think it falls? I think we all agree that the marketing is bad, right? To me, that's I don't see a point in discussing that further. But what about the actual product? Do you think it's harmful?
Okay, so I also agree that marketing is really bad for WhiteHat Jr. Right? It's terrible, full of lies and useless hooks. Right? False, full of lies. Right? That's what this WhiteHat Jr. advertisement is about. However, apart from the marketing, it is just a product, right, that allows parents to enroll their kids, right? Now, we can argue that anything that is directed towards kids can be good and bad. For example, you can say that karate can be good, or for some people, karate could have injured a kid, right? And it could be bad for that particular kid. Likewise, this WhiteHat Jr. may also be, harmful for some particular kid, right? However, that's what it's about. That's what the power is in the parents' hands, whether they want to, how they want to take it forward, right?
See, yeah, are you done, Venkat?
Yes, I am.
See, one point, I want to make, like, one nuance, right? There are, when we talk about harm, right, there are two kinds of harm. One is harm caused by the product by its very nature, like they deliver what they say they will deliver, and that turns out to be harmful, right? Then there is like harm because of bad execution or some unfortunate circumstances. Because the example you gave, like karate, right? Learning karate and getting injured is an unintended consequence that is possible in almost everything, with everything, right? Something bad might happen. So that is just fear, isn't it? Like whenever you start something new, something bad might happen. It's always possible. On the other hand, you may actually feel that karate in itself has caused a problem. Like he learned karate well, and that has changed his nature in some way, or it has harmed him in some way, right? That is also possible, right? Like for example, I don't know if you guys have watched this Karate Kid movies, right?
I have watched it. Yeah.
Yeah, for the protagonist, it actually empowers him. He is like before that he is a pushover. Later he becomes a confident young man, right? Through the learning karate, it makes him a better person, right? Whereas the other person, who is, I think, Johnny Lawrence, right? He actually, becomes worse by learning. He's a bully, and he becomes a worse bully because now he has a skill, right? So, do you think, bringing that analogy to coding, any of you think that the skill in itself is harmful at this age? Like, for example, my son is in third grade, right? He's of a similar age to one of the Wolf Guptas, at least, right?
Hmm.
So, can it be harmful in itself? Like just teaching him this coding and all that, can it be harmful? What do you guys think? Unintended consequences, I'm not talking about, because some teacher is ill treating him, right? That is what the story told, right? Or the parents' expectation is that he will be a champion, or he will create a Play Store app and make millions, but he didn't. And so the son is now feeling that, oh, I'm a failure. I was not able to make 20 crores like Wolf Gupta, right? That is a different thing. But is the skill in itself harmful?
The skill in itself is not harmful, in my opinion. However, if the participation has promotes an environment of competition, a race, a number game, then it can have side effects on the mind of a young child, in my opinion.
Yeah, instead of learning, they're focused on winning.
Yeah, you put it correctly, Dam.
Okay. Yeah, I think I see your point. And I feel this WhiteHat Jr. very clearly tries to promote that, right? They have a leaderboard and they are incentivizing. And the teacher has been calling me actually, right? Because I suspended the classes, right? So she has been calling me
To fulfill her KPIs, right?
Yeah, she is calling me and she is sending messages saying, "Sir, I have not received the project submission."
I want to ask one thing, right? About coding, right? What is coding? It's like you are providing instructions to a computer. It's a way to communicate with a computer, right? And you can create apps, applications, operating systems, software, basically, right? But the underlying platform for coding is a skill. The underlying platform for coding is mathematics, logic, and maybe imagination, right?
Yes.
So, is it and coding is an applied form of this core skills, core things. So, is it not better for kids to firm their basics first in these things, and then they can apply the basics in any form they want to as they grow up? Is it not too early for them to take into this applied form of the basics? However, their basics are still being built. What do you guys think about this? Am I making sense? Is my question clear to you guys?
Yes. You are saying that. Yeah, I think I understand, right? But I don't know. To put it frankly, I don't know which is the right approach, right? So because there is another school of thought where application, teaching through application, right? Because I don't know if you guys remember, I went to this Steiner school, Bangalore Steiner school, where they teach everything through application. Like first comes application, and then they teach the mathematics required for that. Right? Their point is that when the child knows that this is why I am doing this, and then okay, yeah, now I need, for example, just to give, of course, they are not going to teach this, but to give you an example, right? I I'm a trader. Let's say I'm in real estate. A child is being taught how to do real estate business, right? Then it is given a piece of land which is of irregular shape, right? It has to determine the value of that. The child has to determine the value of that. Now it makes a lot of sense for the child to at that point learn what is integration, if you ask me, right? Because through integration you can find the actual area of this, and then you can find the value of this particular land. Whereas without that, you will have to come to a very approximate understanding of the value of that land, right? So learning through application, is that so bad? That is my question, right? Learning or I am talking about something else.
I want to ask one more thing, right? We have spoken a lot about WhiteHat Jr, right? But there are a number of other resources, like maybe Khan Academy has a course on learning coding for kids. Free Code Camp has certain things. YouTube, maybe, yeah. Then there is this Scratch programming, Scratch Junior app, which has exact same things, Damu, you were saying, what these guys are giving, a block coding concept, right, where the loops, and there will be some animal characters who will move based on the blocks that are arranged, right, in a drag and drop fashion by the kids, right? The same concept, whatever you said, right? So why is that the parents uh, they go for this uh, kind of paid products which are backed by advertisement? Is it because they are unaware of this other free and so-called better alternatives, in your opinion, or you think this product is better than the other free options available already? What is your thought?
I feel that any of these options, right, you can try out. Of course, uh, due to heavy marketing, because you are right in that, without marketing, I would have never come to know about WhiteHat Jr. or I was not thinking of enrolling my son in any coding. I had no plans to introduce him to coding at this age, right? So you could say that it's very clear that I fell for the marketing, right? So no doubt about that. So without that, that question doesn't arise for me because I had no plans. You understand what I'm saying, right? I was not even thinking that is there any free resource available and all. Maybe one thing I could have done is, like, once I got exposed to this idea, once I started thinking along this, right, I might have compared with other free resources and come to an educated choice, more informed choice, which I didn't. In my case, I didn't. I thought, oh, what the hell? Let's do it and see.
Yeah. Okay. So different kinds of resources should be explored before choosing any product for kids. That, I think, that is a given for parents, right? We should all, being parents, should explore the available options and choose amongst them what is most appropriate. Yeah.
So see, in general, Aman, my thinking is, like, I see in general there are two lines of thought here, right? On one hand, it is true that people are very, very highly pushy and they're putting a lot of pressure on their kids now, right? And then on the other extreme, there are a lot of parents who think of their children like they are fragile, right? They will break at any second. If you put a little pressure on them, they will break. They will commit suicide, right? That is the extent they think. So they are like, and this school of thought is like everyone has their own talent that has to be explored. right? And the child has to be given that space to explore his own talent, right? So I fundamentally disagree with that line of thought, right? I personally believe that not every child is even talented even in one area. It's entirely possible that your kid may be totally not talented in anything. Not to the extent of being something special, right? And so I personally feel that a little bit of pushing, a little bit of prodding, and exhorting them to explore more and put themselves under a little bit of pressure, right? I feel that it's not harmful, and it will help them in the long run. It will help them in the long run because that is how the world is, right? And what are the things that you put your kid under pressure and how far you go? It's going to be a personal choice. It's going to be a personal choice. There is no formula. I personally put my son under pressure for certain things, and I have seen that end result he enjoys. He enjoys and he is happy about. And there is also another thinking that I have is you are happy when you are doing things which you are good at, right? Eventually, if you are good at something, you start enjoying that. That is the reversal of you should go do what you enjoy and later you will get good at. I agree with that. But it is also true that if you somehow acquire some proficiency in something, right? Suddenly you feel like doing it again and again because we are a social animal and you start getting accolades for that, right? You start getting accolades and you start feeling good about yourself because inherently we are always comparing. Even kids are comparing themselves with their friends. Like if you put your child in Olympiad, right? The preparation part they may not love, right? But when they get some gold medal or something, then they are like happy, right? And they feel like, oh, I have done something. I am capable of doing this. As a parent, you should teach them. Should you not teach them? That is the question I have. Like, should you not teach them to push themselves a little bit? Like, yeah, there will be days when you don't feel like doing it. But if you want to achieve something, even those days you have to do it. Then only you can achieve. Then only you will get that feeling of achievement. Otherwise, it's not possible. Right? Is it not a valuable lesson for them to learn?
Yeah, it is. However, we also need to be wary of uh, keeping the kids out of the rat race, or you can say winning is everything kind of attitude. Because if winning is everything for them, the losers will be disheartened and they will be really in bad shape, right? As we have seen. And if the child's confidence is affected, it can do real harm, right? So, what are the techniques, in your opinion, that can be used to inspire them, but not, for the love of whatever they are doing, it's fine. But if they aim that winning is everything, then it becomes a problem. Is that so?
Yeah. So in my case, I say that you expose them. You expose them and let them explore at their own pace, right? Like first year, let's say in case of Olympiad, right? They hate it, and okay, at the end of it, they don't do well, right? Hate is something you can sense. They don't. In my son's case, he doesn't hate it. He loves it. Once he starts doing it, and okay, yeah, after that he will do it in about 5 minutes. The paper he will finish in 5 minutes, right? 5 to 10 minutes he will finish. I think it is a 1 hour paper or something like that. You will finish in 5 to 10 minutes. But for that, you have to cajole him. You have to cajole him, you have to push him, prod him, and make him sit, and then he will do it, right? And it is the same for him with all his subjects, right? He doesn't like to do it. He hates learning Hindi, right? But end of the day, he also cares deeply about academic performance. And when the performance is going to be discussed, he will be deeply disappointed if he doesn't do well, even in Hindi. Okay. So as a parent, you understand this and you push to the extent that he is comfortable, you are comfortable, right? And then we can deal with the consequences, right? We have to deal with whatever happens. We cannot have a formula, is what I am saying.
Yes, makes sense. Uh, I also got this thought that we all agree that exposing kids to good things, good skills, may be a good strategy in today's world, right? So instead of maybe is it better if we proactively list down such skills or things and then uh, in an on and off basis expose the kids to it and see which of these skills are things they enjoy doing the most and which of these they hate doing the most, and then you slowly encourage them towards the good things. And will it be a better approach or one of the approach possible? What do you guys think as parents? Yes.
That's an interesting thought. Okay, I have never thought of exposing in an organized way. Like these are the things I want to expose, right? I've always felt that this is a personal choice, and there will always be some bias in how I pick those things, right? Certain movies I make my kids watch, right? Certain serials I show them. Yeah, you are right, but it can be done in a more organized way.
Yeah. Yeah, Venkat, your thoughts?
Yes, Aman, I certainly agree with you that we
Do you
should
have some
proactively
strategy like that?
we should have a proactive thinking about exposure. Yes, Damu. Yes.
Do you have something like that already?
Now, whatever
I
his
expose.
parents push him to do, he will push his kids to do. I mean, this is generally the strategy, right? Default strategy,
Yeah.
right? When
See,
we are young, when our parents push us, we say, these guys don't know anything. They make us do whatever they like.
Usually kids in our family, right, they are exposed to some kind of music, some kind of dance, right? So these definitely are part of what I think. It's not only in my family, it's a little extended family around us. We always exposed to some art form in as music and dance. So if there is any remaining time, then I can think of this coding. I'm not going to put coding because there is one aspect that we have not talked about. It's about the screen time, right? Already in this COVID times, we have relaxed the screen time a lot, and this will definitely add to their screen times and make them I don't know what is the equivalent of bookworm for a computer, right? Maybe a computer worm, if we can say, or laptop worm. They become laptop worms, which I'm not very sure at this point of time. So I'm not going to expose my kid into for coding classes or in particular WhiteHat Jr, right?
That's interesting because I feel it's quite impossible to control that exposure because there will be so many distractions once the kids are online or in front of a screen. They can do so many other things on that machine, right? So uh, I don't know. Are there any strategies these products like WhiteHat Jr or other uh, products for kids um, they include in order to avoid these other distractions which can be really dangerous, right? uh, Uncontrolled surfing or maybe some social media which is not meant for kids, right? This can be dangerous, right?
Yeah, but it depends on the parents' surveillance, right?
Yes,
Parents should only allow whitelist certain things, right? it's parents have to keep a watch on this. I believe, more than anything else, it's the parents who has to keep a watch on these things. So if they are around, they'll make sure that, they have to make sure that the children are only doing what they are intended to on a computer.
Yes, correct. However, when it becomes a hobby, hobbies are practiced individually, isn't that right? Let's say singing or dancing. Once you make it your hobby, you're supposed to do it on your own, not with a parent along
Correct.
with you.
Yes.
Right. So once, let's say, a kid becomes a coder, right?
Yeah.
Coding obviously needs a machine, maybe an internet connection, right? So I'm just saying there is a possibility that it becomes an uncontrollable hobby. In a
Totally.
sense, you cannot surveil it. In that case, it can be dangerous in an young age. Yes, that's what I was
totally
saying.
Agree.